Google just announced its new Pixel 11, 11 Pro, 11 Pro XL, and 11 Pro Fold, but it's even hard to call them new since they barely have any new upgrades, and they're also a downgrade in some areas. Plus, these are some of the first phones that are actually showing just how bad Ramageddon is. Like, just to start off, the Pixel 11 basically has just 4 new upgrades. The main sensor is now 48 megapixels, the wireless charging is a bit faster at 25 watts, up from 15 watts. It's got the new Tensor G6 chip, which doesn't seem to be a huge upgrade compared to the G5 of last year, especially in terms of graphics, which is an area that the Pixels have always struggled in. And lastly, it's got a redesigned camera bar that's actually slimmer, which turns that camera bar into basically a no camera bar when you add a first party case from Google. Plus, that new design comes with the normal and boring colors of Frost and Obsidian, but it also comes with some fun ones, with my personal favorite, Pistachio, or this even more fun one that's not exactly for me, Hibiscus. But other than that, there's not much more in the hardware improvements unless you count it now starting at 256 gigabytes of storage and is starting at $100 more at $900, up from $800. So it's kind of a sly thing where you think that you're getting more storage, but what they actually did is just take away the lower storage option and make the phone more expensive. But now I guess we get to the meat of this sandwich with the 11 Pro and 11 Pro XL, which are what most people focus on in videos like this, so I guess I'll follow the flow. So they have done the same thing that they did with the Pixel 11, where they didn't really come out with that many hardware upgrades, but they acted like it really was an upgrade compared to last generation. Like, it's got a new 50 megapixel main camera and a new 48 megapixel telephoto with things like a crazy 120x digital zoom or 4 times faster photo taking at nighttime, which basically takes taking photos at nighttime to the same level as taking normal photos in the daylight. But most of those features that I just talked about are mainly powered by software and AI. It's also got faster wired and wireless charging, but if we dig deeper, we find that the wired charging only applies to the XL, but it is a very small upgrade from 70% in 30 minutes to 75% in 30 minutes, while on the wireless charging side, the smaller Pro is 29% faster, while the XL is just 17% faster, which is just so confusing and weird that they would make the numbers different depending on which Pro phone you got. The display also has a new coating that's supposed to be more scratch resistant. I don't really know who's going to test that, but it's also brighter, going from a peak brightness of 3300 nits to a peak brightness of 3600 nits. You probably won't really notice that since when it ever reaches that peak brightness, that's the peak. So after it gets to that, it probably will throttle, so then it probably dims. So that's why they call it a peak. And just like the base Pixel 11, the Pro is also getting that $100 increase, with the Pro going from $1,000 to $1,100, and the Pro XL going from $1,200 to $1,300. But it gets even worse because you can really see how the Ramageddon is affecting these phones, since last year's models came with a base of 16 gigabytes of RAM, while this year they come with the base of 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is an average for phones, but it's just crazy to think that you're paying more to get less. You can still get these 16 gigabytes of RAM on the 512 and 1 terabyte storage options, but it's just so weird to think that the RAM is basically a downgrade from last year's phone. Now, one positive thing in the Pro story is that they do come in some fun colors, including Canyon, Fog, and my personal favorite, Olive. Plus, there's just a standard black all matte one called Obsidian. Now, last but not least, we have the Pixel 11 Pro Fold, and you probably know the story so well that you can repeat it with me. Faster wireless charging at 25 watts, better performance with the Tensor G6, brighter displays with 3600 nits of peak brightness, and the same upgraded 48 megapixel main sensor from the base Pixel 11. And you might have noticed in the left corner of the Pro Fold and the right side of the Pros that there was this new light. Well, that's what Google calls HiLight, HiLight. And it does what the name suggests, says hi. Because it's like one of those notification lights that we've seen in phones from companies like nothing, but unlike those phones where the light makes the phone more useful in many ways, currently the highlight on the Pro Pixels can only do two things: signal an incoming call from a contact through 5 specific colors, or glow like a rainbow when you talk to Gemini. That's not a lot of things. Like, they could have at least made it be able to show red and blink when you're recording a video, just like what nothing does. Or they could have even made it a signal for incoming messages, which it can't currently do. Like, even the host of this year's Made by Google event, Trevor Noah, asked if it can signal incoming messages, and the answer is no.
Like, what about like messaging or anything else?
Well, as you can imagine, we'll be adding more capabilities to HiLight over time, like message notifications from your closest people.
Okay, now back to the Fold. Back to the Fold. It's actually probably the phone with the most upgrades, with some unique upgrades that most of the phones that I've just talked about don't have. Like, it's 1 millimeter thinner, 10% lighter, 3 times more durable, and apparently the back glass is now made out of a material that is basically impossible to crack, but we'll leave that to the professionals to test. There's also a new hinge mechanism. It's not the one that basically makes for a creaseless display, at least it's not that just yet, which it probably gave up so it could be more durable than other foldables with an IP68 dust and water resistance rating. And fun fact, Google said that they tested it by folding it 83,552,000 times, and as you've really come to expect from this video, the Pixel 11 Pro Fold also gets that $100 increase, with it going from $1,800 to $1,900. But this phone breaks the mode that we've been putting the other phones in, if that's the right term. Well, what I mean is that it doesn't get the same storage upgrade that the other phones got earlier in this video, because it still starts at the same 256 gigs of storage. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention this, but it also comes in what is turning into my favorite pixel color, olive, but it also comes in the standard black too, if you're that type of person. Who is that? So my take on these new Pixel phones is they're not really trying to be amazing hardware phones, but they're really trying to be great software phones. Like, that's really where all the upgrades are this time around. Like, Gboard is getting an upgrade with Rambler that is essentially a way better voice to text, and Gboard is also getting the ability to work with sign language, specifically ASL. That sounds like a really cool feature because it's basically voice to text for people who can't speak. It's like in a different package. Other new software features are in the camera app, like Camera Looks, which is basically like Apple's photographic styles that natively change how your photos look when you take them. Or there's this new video mode called Magic Capture that allows you to take a video, then the device itself will process the video and also send it to the cloud to take pics out of that video. And while we're in the camera app, let's talk about this new suite called Creator Suite that makes the Pixel a way more compelling device for creators. It gives you an audio visualizer so you don't speak too loud, a social media frame so your content doesn't get blocked by any UI, and lastly, an on-screen teleprompter that can scroll when you talk. But the big thing that Google really talked about at this event and many other events is that your phone is supposed to be starting to do things for you, like maybe reserve a table for you at a restaurant. And just like how Apple talks about at their keynotes, Google talked about how their AI experience has the most privacy protection. Take that, Apple. Just kidding. I don't really know how you can say that your AI experience has the most privacy protection. Maybe there's some, like, fine print. I need to go check that. So with all of that said, I'm gonna give the Pixel 11 series a period, because they don't really feel like that much of an upgrade compared to these 10 series. There's just a few things sprinkled around. Like, probably most of the software features that I talked about in this video will be coming to the 10 series, so maybe you should just go for one of those phones that have a discounted price. So to be clear, if you're on a Pixel 10, do not upgrade. But if you're on a phone that really needs an upgrade, or you just really want a Pixel phone, then I would first say look at the Pixel 10, because it most likely will get all of these software features that I was just mentioning. And also, I would just like to say, if you're comparing the Pixel 11 Pro XL and the Samsung S26 Ultra, since they're now the same price, I would say go for the Samsung because it has more impressive hardware with a better processor and other things. But if you really want some good software, then I would say go for the Pixel. There are many more comparisons we could do, but I think we got to the main ones. But if I did miss some, then make sure to comment below because I want to know. What else? Oh no, that's weird. So thanks so much for watching this video, and if you did enjoy this video, please consider pressing the subscribe button. Bye. Ooey, ooh, g. Google. Again, having too much fun, so bye.